Have you been out playing shows and they've been going pretty good, but you feel like a little something is missing and you're ready to take that next step to figure out how to take your shows to that next level? Have you seen some recent shows of other musicians, other artists, other groups where you walk away just buzzing that next day of why was that so great? How did they have such a great show and mine feels so bland? Well, maybe it's time we start thinking about a couple steps that can take your shows to the next level. Let's have a think on that. Hey, everybody, welcome to today's episode. We've got a quick one, but a great one. And today we're going to talk about that moment in everybody's career if they've been doing this and they're really honest about doing this as a hobby, as a career, as something that you really want to express and play live music with others, but you really want to take it to another level. And there comes a point where your shows are good enough, but they're not yet great. And today we're going to talk about 5 quick and easy but very efficient and useful tips that can really take that show to the next level, really push you forward, really make you stick in people's minds the next day to where they can't wait to tell their friends about it, wait to see your next show, wait to hear that new music that's going to be coming out from you, to follow you on your socials because you did that work, you put on that amazing performance. So let's talk about 5 easy ways to start taking that next step. Before we get into it really quick, again, thank you guys so much for everybody that watches and supports and reaches out and tells us what we're doing is helpful or gives us suggestions for great videos. Really appreciate your help. If you haven't yet, just take a quick second, give us a subscribe, like the video. All those little things really help us grow and start moving in the right direction. So thank you so much. You guys are so appreciated. Thank you. On to the first tip. Tip number 1 is let's perfect your set list. And if you've been playing music out for any amount of time, you have written down the songs that you're going to play. You're fairly comfortable with them. You know what works for you. Hopefully at this point, you've got a mix of some original, if more originals or less originals, doesn't matter, with some cover songs. But instead of just having a list that works for you and playing what works for you, and when you're really starting out, you're just worried about how am I going to fill this amount of time? Am I going to be able to put on the right show? Am I going to connect with people, get that stuff out there? But there comes a time when it's not just about having a show. It's not just about getting the songs out there. It's about sitting down and taking your set list, your list of songs that you have, and finding the most strategic and best use of those songs when it comes to putting them out there and getting the crowd to engage and put on the best show. So what does that really mean? It really means you need to start thinking about this thing, the valleys, the peaks and the valleys. And we're going to talk about this multiple times with different tips, but the peaks and valleys are what it's all about. And when we're talking about your set list, you should have 3 huge highlights no matter what when it comes to your set list. You should have a great opener that is engaging and draws the attention of the crowd and shows them why you're here and who you are. You should have an amazing closer that sends them off with fireworks. I mean, if you go to a fireworks show and they put tens of thousands of dollars into this show, they don't just win with a couple pew pews and some sparklers. It's always the biggest ones at the end, and they leave you with the ahs and amazing things at the very end for a reason. In human nature, that's what we really like to see. It's what we talk about. It's what the last impression we have. So think of that exact same thing as your set list should be a set of amazing fireworks on the 4th of July. The closer should be one of your biggest bang for the buck things you have. So, and then I said 3 things because you have your beginning and your end, but in the middle, there should be, if you're having peaks and valleys of where you're bringing the audience along with you on this journey and you're telling this story and you're experiencing this thing together, every good story has that up in the middle that of course comes back down. You should have some solid piece in the middle that is going to be your anchor and is a great song. That the crowd loves it and responds well to it. And the great part about having that middle song, that set stone, that foundation is if you're having a bad night, if things aren't going well, if you haven't quite yet pulled in the audience and got them buzzing with you, you still have something to look forward to. It's not that everything is lost. What's the point? Let's just do our last song and get out of here. You have that middle song to look forward to. You know that you have a strong connection with this song, and you'll be able to put on a great performance with it because, it's time to to put something more into this because that's what this crowd needs. You know, you're adjusting to the moment, but you know that you have those three set things ready to go. So you don't have to sit there and worry about they're not into it yet or this isn't a great show and just write it off. You're still going to put on a great performance because you have more things to throw at them. So that's tip number one. Perfect your set list. Number two, we're going to talk about mastering your stage presence. So as we've alluded to here is we've really said a couple times now that you know you've been doing this for a bit, meaning that you've played a number of shows and you've been doing this, and you should be the point and why this is important that you are comfortable with the music you're playing. You can play with your eyes closed. You don't have to sit there and watch your hands as you play or close your eyes and imagine the lyrics to sing along or look down at the ground. You know, you should be at a point that you're comfortable with the music and you're very confident with those songs and you're on to the next thing because you can expand upon what the song is as a whole. So mastering your stage presence comes down to being able to still play those songs at a top-notch level with as few as mistakes as possible, because we're all going to make mistakes, but you want to keep them at a minimum and still be able to start thinking about, where am I on the stage? Am I engaging and making eye contact with people? Am I, you know, giving off this energy that other people would want to be around? Because that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing as an artist, as putting on a show. It's a show for a reason. You know, you could say it's all about the music, but that's not it. They can just go home and listen to music. They can go to, you know, Spotify or Apple Music and just play songs. They don't need that. They're here for an experience, to be part of something with other people, and you need to be the one that's curating that and demanding that attention and putting on the show. So you have to be very mindful of what you're doing. Number three, rehearse your transitions. And it seems kind of mundane and stupid, but when you go through a show, especially going forward from this point, if you haven't, really be mindful of what they're doing. Are they just playing a song, stopping, tuning their instruments, standing around, talking to each other, and then, you know, another 3-4 minutes, play another song, and then they stop. And there's this whole thing, again, momentum, when it comes to a performance of where you're building them up, taking them on this journey, the peaks and the valleys. And if you're just, you know, song, stop, you're just going down. You're not building them back up because there's no cohesion. There's nothing that's bringing these songs together. So every, you know, 2, 3, 4 songs should have ways of flowing into each other, you know, just end and right into the next song. Or, you know, a little bit of the song plays, you take something, make an instrumental out of the ending of one song that leads into the next song, whatever that may be. Find a way to make those different keys of the song work together. Or maybe you have songs that are in the same key, put them next to each other for that exact reason and take them on that journey with you. You know, find a way to get that great start of the song and you're taking this on your journey, and never let them stop thinking about what you're doing. And then, you know, you're going to have a break between, you know, 3 songs, 4 songs, moving into that maybe middle foundation when we were talking about. Just use that and make sure that every time you're doing this, that as you're building these songs together, make sure they make sense, make sure that they are drawing the audience in, but they're still unique enough. You know, if you do this well enough, there's a bonus to you recording your live show and sharing it as its own album, using it as content for the rest of your year, posting on your website as your electronic press kit with something to share, because it's a unique part of what your music is. It's not the same. It's different from your recorded music. You know, it brings something more to the table because you put a little bit of extra effort into it, you know. So rehearse these things when you're at practice, when you're at rehearsal. Take the time to work out these transitions. So that's a great tip. Please, if it's the only thing you do and you just need one thing to change in your show, this is a great one to take away. Number 4 is kind of like this, but it's a micro version of it. And it's tip number 4 is leverage your dynamics and pacing. And this is kind of what we were talking about, those peaks and valleys. This is kind of where we squeeze into just song by song. And each song should have its own kind of pacing and dynamics, using, you know, those heavy loud parts, the fast paced parts that get a little bit louder, versus, you know, either a ballad in the set list or the part of the song where you can just step back, drop everything off, build it down to 1 or 2 instruments or just a vocal part, and then build back up upon that using that. And I mean, there should be, I'm guessing, if you're doing a 2 to 3 hour set list, there should be at least 2 to 3 of these songs where you have that's you've worked it out differently than its normal arrangement, to where you've got it to this point where you have that drop off, build it back up again. Those moments are the ones that are really helping the audience like drop off. They can hear everybody talking around them because it's got quiet. They're very aware of where they are. And all of a sudden they see everybody start to get into it, pull into the stage a little bit closer because something's happening. We're feeling this intense buildup. We're all getting this anticipation built up. And using those kind of tricks are what going to separate your show. And again, when we're talking about that next day when you're still in their head, they're still thinking about you, and they're going to talk to their friends and their family about what they did last night and why they need to see this show. This is how you do it. This is how you achieve that moment. This is how you get in their head and you live there rent-free. So just like I said, a microcosm of, we're talking about these peaks and valleys. We're just going to zoom in a bit and make sure each section, each song, or couple of songs, there's a high, there's a soft, slower section, fast. Think about your dynamics. Think about your how fast, slow tempo of the songs. Get a juxtaposition. Get those against each other so they really start to pop. So that's 4. Let's get to that last one, number 5. And this one is just starting to think about what's going on the stage. It's a very simple one. Again, if you did 1 or 2 of them, this is a great one that's just super easy to do, is just bring something unique to the stage. And this can be as simple as just a prop. Something that has something to do with your name and your branding or who you are as a group or an artist. It could be a projector playing stuff in the background that you've created. It could be a prop on stage or something, the LED light up, something unique that makes your show just you and they can see instantly. Maybe it's something you do in your show that you start to build upon, and you have a back and forth and in a call and response with the audience there, or you find a way to make them clap along with you. Something unique about your show that makes it different from the other shows or the other artists playing that night or the other shows they may have seen recently. Something that makes it unique. There's so many different opportunities here, but you should be mindful. You should know what I'm bringing to the stage that day, what's unique about this, what shows off who we are and makes this a special event, or makes them walk away like seeing who you are. Some poster in the background, some big, invest a little bit and find some way to be unique and make it special, and make sure it's known that you're up there and this is just a one night thing. If they come to this same exact venue the next day, it's going to be different because we're special. You're here for something big. So those are 5 quick, great tips to up your game for a live show and bring your A game and have them thinking about you that next day. And again, like I said, living rent-free in their head. Try some of these. Let us know in the comments if they worked out or if they did anything for you, or even if you have some great ones that work for you that we didn't talk about today. Let us know. We'll make a part 2 of this video. Happy to do it. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. If this helped at all, got you thinking, please give us a like, give us that subscribe. It really helps. And we're going to see you guys on that next one. Thanks. Bye.